Hello everyone, welcome back. It's Empyrion Galactic Survival Episode 6. I'm Enigmius, and today we're going to finish our hover vehicle. But we're waiting for the sun to come up because it's damn dark out here and we don't have enough lights in the area where we're going to be building the vehicle. But we've done a lot since the last episode, just preparation stuff. Nothing overly exciting that everyone has to see in order to be able to understand its greatness. We just went around and killed some dinos for some meat, so we've got a little bit of food. We mined up some cobalt, which was fairly important because we were out and we needed it for most of the things that we needed to build for this ship. So that's taken care of. We've expanded our garden. Once again, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. We haven't eaten anything that we've got from the garden. We've harvested a fair bit, but it's all in the fridge. We're going to turn it into sprouts someday when we get around to it. You can see everything is growing back at its own pace. That's the nice thing, is you plant it once and it produces fruit or whatever, and you harvest the fruit, and then the plant just sits there for a little while and then it produces more. So you don't have to keep gathering sprouts to keep that growing plot growing. It just does it on its own, which is excellent. Now over here we've got our hover vehicle, and it's just bright enough now that we can start taking a look at it, and we can go like this, make it even easier. I've added some spotlights to the outside. These white sort of circular things are spotlights, and then these are the maneuvering engines that we put on so that we can get decent maneuverability in all the different directions. So we've got a spotlight on the front, 2 on either side, and 1 on the back. Total of 6 spotlights, and they're fantastic for illuminating the area around the vehicle. Actually, let's get in here while it's still dark enough that you'd be able to appreciate just how good these lights are. Look at the range on the spotlights to the side. Like, we're getting that tree lit up all the way over there. Very nice indeed. The one thing that they don't help with, however, is illuminating the outside of the vehicle itself. So again, very, very difficult to build in the dark. We're going to add some smaller point lights around the outside, so hopefully that will help a little bit. But the spotlights themselves, I mean, hard to look. We can see the corn dogs way off in the distance are all illuminated for us. They could just be glowing in the dark themselves with all the nitrates and all the other stuff, but we'll put the credit for the spotlights on that one. Dusty, very dusty around the hover vehicle. So we're doing okay for promethium in order to make more fuel cells, but it's not abundant right now. We're eventually going to have to head out and gather some more, and by eventually I mean soon. So I try to leave it running as little as possible unless we're actually going somewhere. The cobalt deposit that we took from is the one that was marked over there, and I didn't even realize it, but we actually had to navigate through the forest. We had to take our little hovercraft in and around the trees, and it really highlighted the benefits of being maneuverable when we're stuck. You know, the highest we can go is 3 meters off the ground. So it did pretty well going around the trees, and there'll be plenty of opportunities to see it doing similar things that will be recorded and shown to you guys so you don't feel left out. So first things that we have to do is get the utility blocks onto our ship so that it can actually do things other than travel around. And boy, have we got utility blocks. We've got the harvester module, which when I mouse over it, you can see on the right hand side of the screen it's got all the information about it, but it doesn't tell you what it actually does. The wiki that I looked at didn't mention anything about a harvester module. There wasn't even an entry for it. I finally found a posting on the Steam forums about it, and basically it's used to gather trees. So we're going to put a harvester module on the front of the vehicle. I should point out that I had actually made this before I knew what it was for, so that's why we're going to use it. Not because we are so enthusiastic about gathering trees, but because it seemed like a good idea. We've got normal thrusters. These are going to be on the back. They're going to provide a little bit more thrust than the ones that we've got on the back. The Gatling turret is going to go on top. We've got a pair of Gatling guns. Sorry, minigun turret. A pair of Gatling guns. These are going to be front-facing. We've got some containers, a constructor, small ammo block, a fridge. We have our own little mini fridge. And it wants me to put an oxygen tank on there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that right now to advance the quest or the tutorial. And we're going to put it right, we're going to put it right here. So add a weapon and an ammo box. I don't think it's going to tell me to add a harvester. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the harvester now so that I can get a feel for where to put the Gatling turrets. F to access harvester module. Oh, and it stores the stuff in the thing itself. That's good to know. So we can't put... I was originally going to put the Gatling cannons in here underneath in those slots specifically, but as you can see, that's not going to be an option. It's not by any stretch of the imagination the end of the world. What we can do... See, the thing is, I just want to... The reason why I'm giving so much thought to this very quickly is because you have these weapons, and if you have them too far apart on the vehicle, quite often it makes it very difficult to aim, because you'll be aiming dead center in your target, and they'll be firing to either side, which is kind of wasteful and not really ideal. So I'm hopeful that if we kind of keep them together-ish, that they'll be helpful in some ways. You never can be too sure with these things. It's basically best guess kind of scenario. And it wants us to add an ammo box, which fortunately we are abundantly suited to doing. We made one of those guys, and that goes right here. They're just the little mini versions of the ones that we've got in our base. I quite like them. Add docking pads or landing gears. We're supposed to have landing gears on this. When were you going to tell me? That's a bad ship. Did I just see lights off in the distance there? I could have sworn I saw lights right over there. Maybe it was just the little fluffy guys when we had that little bit of a freeze for a second. Alright, so we're going to get a couple of landing gears, hopefully, under construction. Whoa. Landing gear, metal components, electronics, and landing gear T2. What's the difference? One's a little bit heavier. Excuse me. This one's only for small vehicles. This one's for small vehicles. This one's for small vehicles. Docking pad. Small vehicles or hover vehicles. Device used for docking is small. Oh, I see. So I guess this would attach to our ship, and then it would be used to interface with the thing. Okay. Apparently, I don't know. I'm a little bit unclear, but that's fine. The reason why I'm doing these in the order that the quest gives it to us is because if we don't, we end up sometimes having to remove things and put them back on just so that it acknowledges that we've got it done. As far as I know, there's no real reward for doing exactly what the quest demands, but sometimes it's just worth it, just in case. Maybe it is giving us a little bit of experience towards unlocks and such. And now, so much easier to work when the sun is out. We may have to lift this thing off the ground to attach that landing plate thing, docking plate pad. Running back and forth, trying to make efficient use of our time between little bouts of crafting. Whether we're succeeding in that, who knows? Who frickin' knows? So what we're gonna do is we're going to turn it on. We're gonna raise it up off the ground as high as it'll go. And we're going to leave it there so that we can get underneath. And 7 I guess that doesn't really matter. Is that what it wants? Wow. The hell? I don't even think that doesn't even have a physical connection to the ship. I'm not going to complain. That's what it wanted me to put on the ship, so that's what we put on the ship. So now we're going to lower it back down and see what it looks like. Maybe we'll just smush it and it'll be ruined forever. Tilting backwards. Okay, so it's just a thing. So I should make 2 more. That's what we'll do. We'll make 2 more and we'll put them in the back corners, and that should help set things up properly. I don't know. I just get kind of a kick out of the fact that they're apparently held in place by force fields or something of that nature. Place additional blocks, it says. So we're going to add the blocks that we want to add now, which will be, first of all, a cargo box for carrying generic cargo. Congratulations! We completed our vessel, apparently. We're going to put our small constructor right on the side. And then beside that, we're going to put our fridge. So that things we gather, we can tuck in there until we get back to base, and can, alternately, if we're going on a long voyage, we can put a bunch of food in there and not have to worry about it spoiling. So that's kind of cool. And what else have we got to place on here? The thrusters. Put those guys around back here. So we already have these maneuvering thrusters, but I'm never really satisfied using maneuvering thrusters for main thrust. So we're using the other guys. That guy and that guy, which may or may not get us going a little bit faster. Like I say, the ship feels light and maneuverable as it is. But with all this extra stuff going on, you never know. So the last thing we're going to put on, I think, is going to be the minigun turret, because I want to make sure that the chassis is finished. And in order to do that, every once in a while I hear this strange noise. It's not a growl. It's not that intimidating kind of noise. I think it's one of the slimes making his little slime noises. Let's do it like this. I'm doing this mostly with the lighter steel blocks, just for the sake of inventory conservation, specifically iron. One of our first tasks with this ship is we're going to head on over to the iron deposit and harvest up a bunch of iron so that we can make things with a little bit more liberty and less thought about whether or not we're actually going to have enough materials to get it done. So right now I'm just blocking this out. I'm filling in areas that look like they want to be filled in before we actually start the detailing, and trying to make it look like it was designed by someone who wanted the ship to look like something other than ass. I swear I hear that sound. It's almost like a little duck grunt. Like, ducks, they're not like quacking, but they're that's what it sounds like to me, is that strange noise. These guys should be done here. Yes, they are done. So we're going to hop back in, power it up, raise it up, put these guys on, then lower it down. And that should give us plenty of clearance from which to consider the rest of the ship. And power it up. Up we go. 3 meters. Almost turned off the power. And 7. That's not it. That could be it. Yes, that's it. Apparently that's it. We got F to enter the vehicle, C to lower the vehicle, Y to power down, and alright, I'll take it. Beggars can't be choosers, as they say. And already I can see... Nope, we'll be okay. Very important that we be able to access the cockpit in a bind. And if we're not careful about how we do the detailing, we can end up unable to do that. And that would be a tragedy. I wonder if that's going to be far enough forward. I guess we'll find out. If it's not, we can always remove it and move it up a little bit. Some of these guys. Now, I wanted to mess around a little bit with some of these blocks, the shapes that we have access to, because that's really the best way for me to learn how everything goes together. But at the same time, I don't necessarily want to spend the rest of my life detailing this little hovercraft, because this is very much the disposable vehicle. So we're going to do a little bit of a scoop kind of thing, an inverted scoop. And we'll do the same thing up here. I like that. Very simple, understated design. And then what we can do, I think, yes, is the inward curved shenanigan. There. So we can transition from this really kind of small detailing in the back to some of the bigger rounded blocks along the sides, and it'll look like it was done by design, like someone actually knew what they were trying to do. There we go. I hope we have enough of these blocks to get it all done, but if we don't, that's okay too. I keep hitting the wrong button. I want this one. Round corner. I'll take it. Come around here. Since we have it out. There we go. And this guy. That's not horrible. It's got a bit of a flow to it. It's very understated, kind of hard to see because of the light. The lighting on the underside there is so dark. It looks like just gray. But back here, I kind of like the way it's coming together. Up here, we've got room for improvement. But before we get carried away with the up here and the rooms for improvement, we're going to do a little something. I hope. I'm going to place this guy, our dear friend, the minigun turret. Everyone loves a good turret. You need to access this turret using the control panel editor from the cockpit. Okay. I can do that. I know how to do that. Oh. Lobbing herself all over the place. So this is very important that we have access to this. This is our fuel tank. If we can't get fuel into there, we're in trouble. So we're not going to mess around and potentially cut ourselves off from a fuel source. The temptation is just cover it all over, but we know better. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take more of these. And we'll just go like that. Only got 5 of the regular steel blocks left. That front end wants some love and attention, and we're going to give it to it with these guys, I think. Wait, before we commit to that, let's just take a quick scan for alternatives. No, I think we're going to have to use these guys. So we're going to do like that. That was not the one I wanted. There we go. here. And we can't put anything there because that's a spotlight, and we can't put anything there because it's a thruster, and we don't want to put anything along here because those are all the blocks and things that do stuff. So as far as this guy goes, I'm going to say we're good for now until we get some more iron, and then we can do a little bit more detailing up on this ridge here and see what we can do about this spot here. What we are going to add, before we forget, are these lights that will hopefully help us to illuminate the exterior of the ship itself and not just the terrain around the ship, because I think that would be a good thing to do. Can't put anything on the Gatling guns, and I don't want to put anything on the side of that thruster even if it was going to let me, because that would be potentially bad. So that's good for now. It's not done. We aren't going to say that it's complete, but it's definitely a lot closer to complete than it was when we started. Next episode, we'll take it for a rip. Maybe I'll just go do some solo mining for some iron so that we can finish off the chassis. And then we'll go test out this guy, and we'll test out our guns on anything that's silly enough to cause a problem. Look at this guy. This troublemaker. We got the scope freeze. The Talon Guardian. The humanoid with a stick. He's just hanging out over there. Yeah, he's got a death wish. He doesn't realize it. He's just peacefully hanging out in the field, hunting for some meat to feed his family. But next time we see him, it's going to be a very, very bad ending for him. So if you want to be notified when we add the next episode, as always, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe to my channel or follow me on social media. Links for social media are in the information section below the video. Feel free to leave your comments and feedback. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.